Hello. Well, this has been quite an eventful and very interesting week. As much as anything else, it has been or is being reflected by this weather. 1 minute it's sunshine, next thing a cloud comes over. Excuse me. And it's forever changing. I have no notes in front of me, which I hope goes a long way to show to you that this channel does not use AI whatsoever. It's all coming from within, and it's certainly been a very testing week. Each week or so I face this challenge of where's the next income coming from. I mentioned in the last video about wishing and visioning on behalf of another, and it's been mixed results. I did get 10 tarot card readings, unusually for all one family, which certainly went a long way to putting food on the table for this week. But then we face this same problem, or this perceived problem I should say, at the end of this week. Where's the next finances coming from? Because I don't have any state pension or benefits of any kind. I rely solely on donations and preferably what I can give to you in tarot card readings. As I've said on a previous video, why worry about tomorrow what you can tarot today? So the title of this video is The Ego and Addressing the Stress. Well, coming purely speaking from the ego side, it's like, I'm bloody good at this and I can change your world for you with a tarot card reading, or by entering into a dialogue with you, a sort of mentorship to change things round. I'm sure you will agree that we live in very mentally stressful times, and just like this weather, with the wind blowing the clouds across, 1 minute it's sunny, the next thing it's in shadow. But it's interesting. One of the things I wished for, because we had all these mudslides with this record amount of rainfall back in January, that the sort of main lay-by for this place became the dumping ground for all the mudslides. And I was only looking at it yesterday thinking it'd be nice if that was cleared. Well, there's been a bit of commotion and a break in the tranquility here, because there has been a digger. They've sort of gone away with a tipper truck to get rid of the first lot of debris and the mudslides and bits of rock and things, and I'm sure they'll be back. So there may be mechanical sounds that intrude a little bit, but it was a thought that was put out there that has been answered, and that's very much the way things have gone. I must also say, and the person involved knows who they are, a very big thank you, because I was, without being asked, offered if I need some financial support, just ask. But I thought, no, let's try and go down the route of taking personal responsibility and generate more tarot card readings. So it's been mixed results, but I'm holding to that vision. So links are in the description, because it really can change things round for you. The analogy I like to use is still life, where you've got that fruit bowl in the middle of the table, and you'll have one artist on one side of the table who has a certain perspective of that fruit bowl. And from that one side, you may see the larger fruit, say something like a pineapple, that obscures the view of the cherries or the grapes. But if you were to move round to the other side of the table, you would have a completely different view of the same thing. And that is very much what these tarot card readings will do. And if you wish to enter into a dialogue with me, I can look at your situation and offer you a different perspective on your situation. So I've gone with the intuition as much as anything else, which was don't go to Monchique at the weekend, because Sundays can be a very quiet day. But it did mean that on the Monday morning yesterday, that there was one sachet of cat food and just dry cat biscuits, which has to go between 6 cats. Junus, however, decided to go off before having breakfast, and I didn't see him till the early hours of this morning. I believe he's got a girlfriend somewhere. He's certainly not going off to get fed, because he came back really hungry, and I've never seen a cat eat food so fast. But while I was at Monchique, I was doing a bit of writing, and this guy I'd never seen before came up to me and gave me €5 and said to me, "Do your cats eat dry cat biscuits?" And I said, "Yes, they do." He said, "I'll be back in a minute." And sure enough, he came back with a 4 kilogram of these dry cat biscuits, exactly the ones I was going to buy anyway. So this is why I say it's mixed results. And I also got another little donation of, I think, €1.50. And every little bit helps. €1.50 will buy a tin of tuna and go towards dry cat biscuits and things. And of course also feeding myself. But how do we deal with stress? Because that saying, where the attention goes, the energy flows, comes very much into this, and I face this on a weekly basis. I'm doing what I can to break that cycle by staying with the vision of what I wish to create. At this stage, it's taking small steps, and it's creating a sort of a buffer zone, so I'm not facing the end of each week with this, where's the next money coming from to fund things. So rather than focusing on that, it's do something creative. One of these things obviously is making the videos, but externally, we just pan round. Hopefully you can see this, because I cannot see the screen because of the sunlight. But we've got the sort of sub base for the structure here. Hopefully you can see this, and on both sides I've laid the wooden boards down to give an approximation of the idea, the size it's going to be. That's all come from material from those mudslides. But beyond that, I've also got the Varnfried Art Brillante channel, and I'm immersing myself in creating playlists. And this is the key to things. It's not, for example, listening to Mozart and expecting to write a fantastic piece of music. It is about transmuting that inspiration that you get from whatever it is you're interested in, and using it in a new way, doing something creative rather than focusing on the negativity of, oh, what am I going to do? That kind of thing. That I find is very successful. Yes, it's been mixed results, but it's been another week where I can say things have come just right. And that is the key to things, to have that faith, that trust in your immortal soul within yourself. that is what gets you through. It's not anything that the conscious mind can put together. Now, I said it's been an interesting week. I watched a video which was rather uncomfortable, and in some ways I sort of regret watching it. And that it resulted in the death of 28 10 and 11-year-old school children returning from a skiing trip. Whatever the reasons for, which has not been established, this tour bus had pulled in or had gone into this refuge lay-by in the tunnel, but at the end of that refuge was a sort of 90-degree concrete wall, and of course the coach went headfirst into it, and with that devastating result. That was very uncomfortable, and if nothing else, it shows the empathy that can well up inside. On top of that, if you watch our KX channel, a guest on there has been Shanta, who is an excellent tarot card reader. I wish I was as good as she is, but she's just lost her son. Well, now it's a very strange feeling with empathy, because whilst it does not personally affect you, it's certainly picking up on an energy which I feel goes to prove that collective energy is a very powerful thing. Now, no doubt you have seen on many YouTube videos talk about AI and how fast computers work compared to the human brain. I feel we need to address this, and I can talk from personal experience here. That saying about when you feel this is it, this is the end, how your entire life will flash before your eyes, I can testify is absolutely true, because I have experienced that. It's like if you were to have a sports car and you thought that the accelerator pedal would only go down a certain distance, but now suddenly you find you can depress that accelerator pedal, and now that car will go phenomenally faster. That is what is sort of unlocked from going through what can seem like very negative experiences. There is also something else in humanity that AI and computers don't have. That is imagination and the ability to create, rather than preset programs and predictable things that are just basically repeated. So there is nothing to fear about the AI that it's going to take over, because humanity is actually superior to it. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent on that, because that's a topic in itself for another video. But I want to impart with you some positivity into things when things can seem rather dire. It is always allow that cloud to pass. There isn't any now, really, so it's not going to affect this. Because once those clouds have passed, it opens up to blue skies and sunshine. And that is a pattern to this life. Against all odds, if you look at history, there's never been what is implied that there is this complete takeover, and you being forced against your will to do things. Yes, there is a lot put in place that will try and coerce you and make things very challenging for you. But these challenges can be overcome. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I've said on many videos previously that I have to put myself through these things. And some of these things can seem very uncomfortable and very unpleasant feelings. Empathy is a big one, because it does leave a very uncomfortable feeling inside. But if you suppress the pain, you're also suppressing the potential of the joy that will follow. That is something of huge value to recognize, because we are in a construct, we are in a realm that shows duality to everything. So we internalize that. We are basically like magnets. You can be on that negative polarity, or you can be on that positive polarity. So by drawing on things that interest you, things that are creative, you can change the polarity within inside yourself. The external world is a reflection. So there's often talk about a pole shift. Well, what about having an internal pole shift? That straight away will change things. I'm not saying this is easy to do when you're in difficult situations, but it is a skill to master that will get you through any challenge that you face. Wow, so much for making a short video again. We've gone up to 16.5 minutes. So I'm going to end here, and may there be something in this that you can take from this. But just to summarize again, as Rudolf Steiner would say, for there to be love, the foundation of love is having an interest. And I do love these 6 cats here, but it wouldn't follow unless I had an interest in them. So look inside yourselves, what interests you? Then you can put on that spiritual armor. Now, armor, if you look at the French word l'amour, that is the armor. Love is the strongest energy that there is that can overcome anything. It is not the way it is interpreted in this material world of actually putting on shining armor, but it is shining and reflecting out in an energetic form of positivity, and knowing whatever challenge that you face, no matter how difficult it may seem, that it can be overcome. And to that end, this is why I offer you these personal tarot card readings, to look at your situation, to then come from the positive polarity, looking at the same subject matter, like that still life with the fruit bowl, and say, well, hey, yes, there's a fruit bowl in the middle of the table, but why don't you come round this side of the table, and you'll be able to see those grapes, and you'll be able to see those cherries, not just the great big pineapple that is obscuring your view from the other side, which we could say is like the negative side. So the offer is there, and I very much do depend on generating an income in this means. It is about taking small steps and following and holding true to the vision of what you create. We are individually, we have these internal worlds that reflect out onto the external world. Whilst we're not here to fix the world will just run the way it does. We can, however, make a difference on an individual level, and there does come a tipping point that I will talk about in the next video. It concerns events of 2020, and it also is expressed and reflected in empathy. When 2 or more gather, how the energy is exponentially greater. So we're also like radios, we receive and we transmit. So when you tune in to a particular frequency, that frequency that can be described as a frequency on the wave of empathy, where you do feel the pain and the sorrow on behalf of another. That's a very powerful thing that is being shown. So the discomfort is a great value to take something from, to see it objectively, and like art, subjectively. And then rather than sort of wallow in that negativity, to be able to create that internal pole shift inside oneself. That will definitely change things, and it all leads in a direction of where you're gaining experience and you're holding true to the vision of what you wish for. See, again, now we have the darker cloud has come over, but that's not going to be there for long. It'll open up to bright sunshine, but now we've gone up to 21 minutes, so I'm not going to keep this video running just to prove that. I'm sure you can appreciate that that will come anyway. Behind me, you can see that there are blue skies and there are clouds, but it's forever changing. It's reflecting this life experience. It's how we approach these things. Which side of the table are we coming from? Are we from that negative side, and are we going to be stuck in that negative polarity? Or can we find it inside ourselves to flip that polarity, to have that internal pole shift? So one way of doing that is to approach me for these personal tarot card readings. The feedback I've had has been very good. I've had comments of that was spot on, that was highly accurate. What you do with that information is entirely up to you. But I'd like to hope that by giving you a different perspective, that you can then take the active steps and initiate the ongoing changes to make your life more conducive, to make it a more pleasant experience. And when we feel better, do we not then exude that positivity, which then will become quite infectious in a very positive way? It's, you could say, like a positive virus. Spreading the love, I suppose, is a good way to describe it. So now we're up to nearly 23 minutes, so I am going to end there and say unconditional love to you all. Links are in the description for everything that I can offer you. And in doing so, you are definitely helping both myself and the 6 cats here. Thank you very much for listening.